We got some special announcements today, and we're really excited for Izzy McCoy. And he's come all the way from Australia. He's brought his team from Amber App all the way from Australia to El Salvador. So let's see. It looks like we're working on some technical stuff right now, but I think you got it. Ready?
Okay. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Izzy McCoy.
Thank you. Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank you so much. I presented at a lot of conferences and I've never used slides, so I'm gonna do my best to get through this. The team that I have the blessing to work with is Amber App, and I asked everyone, can we build something together? Let me talk to you and try to create a framework of how I see the world. You know, when Sean and I were talking about doing this, I immediately just wanted to sponsor because I love the Meme Factory. I love him. I love what he's doing. And it just felt right. But I didn't want to come up here and shill our company. You know, our work should speak for itself. But I will tell you what we're doing at the end. And the team and I were talking about it. And they're like, Izzy, just go up and do your shit. Like, I'm sorry to curse. I don't mean to curse at you. That's what they said, though. Do your shit. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to give you a little bit about who I am and how I see this thing that we're in and what it means and how important it is. And then at the end, just talk a little bit about why we did what we did. How many of you recognize this? Have you all seen that? That's Star Fury. Star Fury is our head of design. He's one of the most badass, sorry to curse again, it's going to come out a little bit throughout this. He's one of the most badass dudes I've ever met in my life, and we've talked every night for the past 6 months to build some really cool stuff. And he said, Izzy, you've got to open with that, because that is what the world is. That's what you're inhabiting. That's the future that's already happened, and we're all walking into that future. You know what I mean? You get that? Here's the reality. Have y'all seen that before? That's what's happening. That's what you were born into. You were born into this mechanism that existed a long time before you, through bloodlines, through power, through greed. And they are literally playing Monopoly on your backs. Do you all feel that? I felt it. When I first got it, I was about 17 years old, and I was like, oh my gosh. This absolutely sucks. And I felt like I had been born into this to fight that. And then by the time I got 40-something, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I fight that alone? And I became quite depressed. I smoked probably way too much cannabis at that point to try to cover up. Like, is my life meaningless? Is it, like, how am I to fight something that they own the military, they own the media, they print the money? How do you do that? We all know how to do that. It's Bitcoin. Bitcoin connects us, and the only way to upend the current system is to connect. Because together, they can't stop us, and they never will. They can't stop us now because we have freedom technology. So that's what you were born into. That's what your grandparents and great-grandparents were born into. And the importance of what we're doing and that we're all doing here is to connect, to go back out into the real world and change that dirty fiat that we were all born into, debt slavery. You feel that, right? To change that to a Bitcoin world, to change that to a place where every small child gets to be born into an orange glowing world. That's what we're doing. That's the importance of what we're doing. I don't know if my parents or my grandparents or anyone like that had the opportunity to shift the human endeavor forever, but we do. That's the importance. That's what Bitcoin is. And why? Because Bitcoin reminds us that we're sovereign. Do you guys understand that? Bitcoin doesn't give you sovereignty. You were born sovereign. that was stripped from you. You were indoctrinated into a system just like me that stole your soul, that steals your time, and offers you something that has no value to transact in a world that doesn't really love you. If you take the weight of that on your shoulders, it can be incredibly hard to bear. Or you can own your sovereignty. If you don't, this is what they're going to give you. They told you this. It's in all their documents. They wrote it down. Whether you look at it as a corrupt government or whether you understand it the way that I understand it, that it is an agenda that's been marching along for a very, very long time. They want you to own nothing. They want the resources for themselves, and they want to put you in 15-minute cities and lock you up so you have, and capture your perception so you have no freedom whatsoever. And the choice is yours. It's very simple. You can remember who you are, that you're a sovereign human being, or not. That's the pathway. And this is what we got to use to make that choice. We have an ultimate freedom technology. We have Bitcoin. You know, when I think about Bitcoin, I've been in Bitcoin a very long time, 14 years now. And when I read the white paper, I stopped at the abstract. And I remember where I was sitting, the desk I was at and everything like that. And I was like, oh my God, if this accomplishes what the abstract says it's going to accomplish, this is everything I've been looking for. I understood money. I understood slavery. I understood the Federal Reserve long before 2009 and 10. I was looking for something like Bitcoin. Thank you, Trace Mayer, even though you did some Mimblewimble bullshit. Thank you. But he brought me to Bitcoin very early. And when I understood that this had the ability to change the world we live in, I was like, okay, I'm going to read the rest of this document. And probably like many of you, I read it and realized my math is really bad. I don't understand a lot of this stuff. But something else I grokked from that is this is going to change what we think about energy, how we produce energy, and how we distribute energy. And now we're seeing that play out in real time. How many of you have seen what's happening in Africa? Yes. Exactly, right? They are powering themselves on a Bitcoin standard. It's so sexy, it's unbelievable. That's what we want. That's what Bitcoin is going to do. So we fix the money and we fix the entire world because that is our enslavement. And Satoshi gave us something that was incredible. I'm trying to get the clicker to work. I don't know if it works. Oh, cool. This is what Satoshi gave us. I look at Bitcoin as a hug. For any of you that know me well, I'm a hugger. What happens when you guys are a couple, right? What happens when you hug one another? It's not like a pat on the back and, oh, I love you and that stuff, right? Oxytocin. When was your oxytocin generated in that moment? Some of it. Everything that you are, everything that you've ever been throughout this life comes into that moment, and same for you, that when you embrace one another, all of your experience, all of your energy is encompassed in that. You feel that when you hold him? Yeah, exactly. See that smile you got? That's what happens when we hug one another. That's why I grab a lot of you and hug you and you feel really uncomfortable. And then when I tried to grab Sean and hug him, I was like, oh shit, this is going to happen. Satoshi, I feel, gave us the greatest gift ever. And I think it's a hug because it's imbued with his intent. So do you guys know that, guys and girls know that Satoshi said back in the day, I've been coding this for a couple of years before I released the white paper so I could release the white paper. Okay, so that happened, right? What propelled him to start coding? When did that happen? Did it happen 5 years before, 10 years before, 20 years before? Look at the digital footprint. Knowing that you cannot leave a digital footprint forever, you're going to have to be pretty prescient. You're going to have to understand the dangers of the game. And if you understand the dangers of the game, which I feel that he did, you obviously understand the enslavement that you're in and everyone else is in. So I feel the very code that Satoshi gave us is imbued with that intent. And I think it comes out in every single one of us as we become Bitcoiners and we go out and do what we have to do in the world because we're drawn to it. It's almost like we can't not do it. Do you all ever feel that you just can't not add value to Bitcoin? I see you. I see you shaking your head. Peace. So I feel that Satoshi gave us that gift, and it was an ultimate hug from him. And we have a responsibility. I think you saw the next slide. But I feel that in that intent, when it goes into our heart, it opens up the avenue for us to become response-able. You can respond to this in whatever way you want. You can ignore it. You can look at it as what have you, this and that, like a lot of perhaps your normie friends do, and 96% of the other people in the world do. Or you can become response-able and realize, oh my gosh, which all of you obviously have, I have this responsibility. I feel this in my heart. And the responsibility is to orange pill the world. Do you guys feel that? Yes, Jim. Yes. Yes. I feel that. I feel it every single day, and I feel like I have the greatest job on the earth. You know? Do you all feel that as well? That's the empowerment of what we can do here. Because if we don't, this is what you're going to get. You are going to get a chip in your brain that gets scanned. Do not kid yourself for 1 second that that's not going to happen. This is a game of perception. It's very difficult to use media to constantly capture perception. They've done a very good job. It's much easier to put something in your brain and feed you that. And it's all based on fear, and it's all based on enslavement. So we're either Bitcoiners or we get this. And this. You remember that shit during the pandemic? Oh my God, all the hospitals are full. Everyone's going to die. And they're dancing. Really? I was a doctor. That's not how it works. When your hospitals are full, you stay up for 2 or 3 days and you're constantly working. You don't put big booties on and dance in the hallway having a great time because there's no work to do. So you're either going to be a Bitcoiner or you're going to get this. And this. How about this guy? How many of y'all remember last bull cycle, Bitcoin Pump It Up? That was a great video, right? This is what they do. This is meaningless shit. All these are is enslavement dollars. And every time you buy one more sat or acquire one more sat by adding value, you strip power from them. Every time we orange pill someone, we strip power from them. We win back our sovereignty by choices every single day. So that's what you get. And finally, you get this. You get tracked in every single thing you do, every movement you make, every single thing you say. And that'll affect how much money you can spend, how much money you can have, how far you can go. Do you want that? I will give my life for that. I have no qualms. My family and the people that I love know that it's, to me, that's the hill, as they say, that I'll die on. That's why I'm here. And Bitcoin gave me the ability to do that. Realizing I couldn't do it on my own, I can only do it with all of you. I choose to never let this happen as long as I'm alive. And the cool thing about what we're doing is we get to celebrate. That's the cool thing. You know, Buckminster Fuller said, why try and fight the current system when it's bigger than you, it's stronger than you, it's got more power than you? Simply opt out, create something better, and focus all of your fucking energy on that. And if we do that, it's a celebration. Life becomes a dance in the orange glowing light. You know this, sister. You know what's up. I saw you dancing last night. That's what it is. It's a celebration. And guess what? That's why we're all here. That's what these beautiful people did for us. They didn't create a conference. Sure, we get to come up here, Sessions and Jim and other people. I get to come up here, but it's a celebration. The more and more I talk to Big Sean, he's like, I just want to have a party where everyone can come together. We'll have content, but let's celebrate together. That's what this is. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you because not a lot of people know that he had this idea 4 years ago, as you were a little bit before, 3 years ago. And from that idea, you inspired everyone in the meme factory, and then you brought 500 people to El Salvador. Thank you. Thank you. You know, they say one dream can inspire billions, and I think that is what Satoshi Nakamoto has done. Had a dream and inspired us. One dream can inspire 500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, having parties all over the world. Let's go, Meme Factory! Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Yellow. To all the Meme Factory. Why are we here in El Salvador? Why is it important? Because El Salvador, just like each of us as individuals, they took the charge and went, I'm going to do this. I think it took a young president. And some of you, as hardcore Bitcoiners, I know you're going to say, yes, but he did it in a dictatorial sort of way. He made the choice that I'm going to round up everyone with a gang tattoo. Okay, ask any of the mothers and grandmothers here what life was like before he did that. Ask them how many fucking children that they lost. I can't have qualms on that man because he changed the face of this place and then brought Bitcoin here and then brought all of us here. You all feel safe, right? All of you. I do. I hope all the women here feel safe as well. But that's why we're here celebrating in El Salvador. And Sean and I used to say to the people that couldn't make it to this event, they're going to look back and regret it because it may never happen in El Salvador again. This is the first ever halving party in the first ever nation that adopted Bitcoin, and we're all here. This is some serious shit. It's so good. This is ground zero for that Buckminster Fuller opt-out system. Right here, right now, you are living in a world, creating it as you go, that people for 1,000 years, 2,000, maybe 10,000, 20,000 are going to look back and go, there was this guy named Jim, and look what he was doing back then. He was just some surfer, but look what he did. He orange-pilled the world. That's the importance of what we get to do. That's why we're all here, and that's why it's really important to celebrate while we're all here. I wanted to finish on this because similar to that first slide that showed this crazy bullshit world that's all convoluted and causes so much stress and cortisol flowing through your system. You feel it when you go into cities. Just feel the pinch of things, the weight of things. Or you feel that constant heartbeat, that constant orange glow, that you're on the right path, and every single step that you've taken so far led you to where you are right now. That's the orange glowing light. My whole company, when I took it over, Alex Svetsky started that company in 2018, 2019. It became the #1 Bitcoin-only exchange in Australia, and I took it over and bought it and became CEO last year. And there's a couple of us here from Amber App, and I'm sure they'll attest to you. Our ethos, do you remember, Kiwi? Our ethos was one thing. We focus on the orange glowing light, and that's it. Nothing else matters. And in fact, yeah, we have products and services, but that's not what we're about. We're an education company. We happen to have products and services. Our job is to orange pill the world. Our job is to meet anyone who is looking at Bitcoin at their map of the world and help them to become sovereign, help them remember that they're sovereign and they can use this freedom technology to change the world the same way that we are. So this revolution, that's what I said. We're helping others opt out and be sovereign. I should have used the slide, right? As Bitcoiners, this is for you, T-Bone. As Bitcoiners, what can we do? My good friend T-Bone told me exactly what we can do. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Why? Because we're not fighting. We're not violent. We're opting out. We're going to build the stuff that we want to use, right? That's what we do as Bitcoiners. That's what we do in our company. We got together when I first started. It's like, what do we want to build? This is what I want as a Bitcoiner. I've been in the space long enough. I understand the trajectory of not knowing anything to completely being sovereign, running completely on a Bitcoin standard, having zero fiat, verifying all my own transactions, and saying, fuck you to the system. So I have a responsibility to help anyone who wants to understand that to be able to go down that pathway. And it's very important to me. I saw Bitcoin as a mirror. That's me when I had a lot more hair. I saw Bitcoin as a mirror because it reflected back my transactional life. And everything's transactional. Look at the chairs you're sitting in, the stage I'm standing on. This was transacted in some way or other through fiat currency. We live in this matrix of transactionality. And if you allow Bitcoin to be your mirror, it will reflect that back to you. And you will learn so much about yourself. You will learn that your education system has been hijacked, your food system, your medicine, everything has been hijacked. That mirror will show you that. It did me. I assume that it has for some of you, and I hope that if you look deep enough, you'll see that as well. I feel, and I hinted on this in the beginning, that we are bioelectromagnetic nodes. Is there anyone in medicine or neuroscience here? Awesome. So you know bioelectromagnetism, you know the work that's being done on cells in the brain to show how bioelectromagnetically that they form and fuse and shape themselves, and how we've already done ground studies and biosphere studies to show that it's the exact same thing as above, so below. We are all connected. As a Bitcoiner, yeah, I have a box that tells me what's happening on the time chain. I verify that box. It goes through my eyes into my brain, and I verify the transaction I had with you. So through the freedom technology, you and I are connecting, and you're connecting, and you're. Every time you send a sat, you're connecting, and we're changing the world. The thing that I notice most, and Jeff Booth talks about this a lot as well, fiat currency separates you. Given enough time, it will enslave you and alienate you. Bitcoin does the exact opposite of that. It connects us in a very deep and meaningful way. So if any of you have heard me speak at other conferences, this is my thing. We are bioelectromagnetic nodes changing the world together. So I ask you, be a lone nut. Be the first follower of yourself. You know, I see how much time is left. I'm going to go on a tangent. This whole thing of perception is trying to convince you all, and they're not really coming after you. They're coming after your children. They're trying to convince you, and especially them, that you're all equal. You get that? You're not equal. Did you see Sean here next to me? There's nothing equal about me and Sean at all. He's so unique. And so am I. And so are you. You're not equal. Don't let them convince you of that. Be a lone nut. Be your unique self, whatever that means to you. I met Wayne down in El Zonte. He left his fiat world, his fiat job. He goes down to the beach every day and collects rocks and paints Bitcoin stuff on them and sells them. He's adding value to Bitcoin and he's earning sats. However you find that you can add value to Bitcoin, don't let anyone convince you, especially yourself, that it's not going to do it. Because if someone pays one sat, whether it's for your honey, you doing yard work, painting rocks, building a tech company, whatever it is, go for it. You'll find all the support in the whole world in Bitcoiners. Thank you, Swallow, for what you did for us this morning. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it. We cut that deal, and now we're forming another company. Thank you. Thank you. That happened this morning, totally unexpected. Kiwi Huddle said something else is going to happen there. You have no idea what it was. It happened just this morning with Pierre and Swala. Thank you. Yeah, my mind's still a little bit blown, but I'll get back to this. Be a lone nut or a first follower. Build a tribe, find a project, create a purpose, whatever that is to you, whatever that means to you, and just go for it and ask for help. I've asked for so much help. I have so many mentors. So I encourage you all to do exactly the same in whatever way that means to you. And the other interesting thing about Bitcoin, what I've understood is this is, as far as I look at history, known history, even though it's somewhat captured when you dig deep enough, this is the first ever nonviolent opt-out system that we've ever had in the past. If me and Jim and Swala, what's your name? Liddy? And Kitty went, we want to change the current system. Kitty, I saw that. She said, Kitty. Hey. If we wanted to change the current system, we had to fight. We had to pick up arms and go fight people. We don't have to fight anyone. All we got to do is be a Bitcoiner. Remember, we're sovereign. So this is a pretty special time to be alive. This is the last slide, and I wanted to put this in. Buy Bitcoin. We've been building in the background, as all of you have been building in whatever respective projects that you're working on. At Amber App, we have been building and building and building. They say bear markets are for building. It's exactly right. And over the last year that I've been running this company, we've been working on something really, really special. We've been working on a place to set up your Bitcoin life. There are a lot of exchanges out there. They all do exactly what they say they're going to do on the label. We're Bitcoin only, been Bitcoin only since the beginning. As I said, I took it over last year. But when I really understood the pathway to sovereignty, it was like, okay, this isn't an exchange. This is much bigger than an exchange. We were the world's first DCA app. It's much bigger than that. How do we as a team take someone from unknown all the way to sovereignty? Well, we need to be a place to set up your Bitcoin life. And if you can see our logo mark, how many of you know what the seed of life is? I'm so happy. That's the seed of life with Bitcoin node points on it. To me, that, and I've got it on my chest, it's the most special thing because it's the most ancient symbol that we know of, the seed of life flowering into everything that ever is, will be. That's why we chose that as our logo mark. I couldn't imagine that no one else had it. And then we wanted psychedelic colors. How many of you know Yoni Appleberg? Jim, what does Yoni say about Bitcoin? It is a psychedelic experience. And it is, because when going back to the mirror, as it reflects back to you who you are, that's a mushroom. That is a dimethyltryptamine. That's a bufo. When you're able to self-reflect in such a profound way, it becomes a psychedelic experience. So in creating the roadmap for the company, the most important thing being education, I looked at the work of Joseph Campbell. Anyone know who Joseph Campbell is? Awesome. Joseph Campbell looked at every culture that ever existed and known cultures and deciphered that we all have a hero's journey. Being a Bitcoiner, I'm like, well, we all have a Bitcoin hero's journey because this is the moment, 2009, January 3rd, where the world changed forever. So how do I create this Bitcoin hero's journey that frames all the products and services that we're going to have? Thank you, Kiwi Huddle, for working on that for the last year. I appreciate you and love you very much. Thank you. So that's our educational platform. It's totally free. It'll be coming out in the next 4 months. But to meet people at their map of the world, this is what we created. And this is the end of my presentation up here. So I'm going to light shill at the end after I've shown you a little bit about who I am. If you want to get up and walk out, that's cool. But you should check out Amber App. These screens are really special to me because they're all animated, they're all psychedelic, and we wanted to create something with the version 2 of our app that anyone in the world could use, whether it was your little sister or whether it was your grandmother, and we wanted them to feel something. Most of the apps that I've used, and I know a lot of heads of companies and founders, they make stuff that works, but I don't feel it. I feel like it's a traditional banking app. And what I've noticed in orange pilling young people, specifically under the age of 30, they'll have it downloaded in their hand during your conversation, and they either like it or they don't. And if they like it, they are going to immediately be messaging their friends. And I wanted something that could help them in a way that they felt it, because they're being stripped of their feelings in this world that we live in. So that's why we built this, our Amber App V2. And this is what it is. We're dropping the Lightning first, but it's a self-custodial on-chain wallet. It is an anonymous Lightning for all of you in the US that just got stripped of Wallet of Satoshi. I know Daniel quite well. He had to pull out. Welcome to Amber App. Welcome to your anonymous Lightning wallet. We launched in the USA and Canada today. And we launched our anonymous... We launched our anonymous Lightning globally today. All over the world, anyone can use it. Unless you're in North Korea and Myanmar, then you can go fuck yourselves. And I will say, if there are any spooks in here, come at me. Give it your best shot. So we launched in America. And over the next couple of months, our self-custodial on-chain, our Bitcoin exchange where you can buy Bitcoin, I know you'll never sell, and the fiat wallet, which is the on-ramps, will all be rolling out over the next month and a half, 2 months. And we're starting with this Lightning wallet, which I think is super sexy. If any of you have Amber App on your phone, it's in the Google and Apple Play Store. I've got it on mine. Find me. I'll shoot some sats to you. No worries. I'm serious. The best thing about Bitcoin is giving Bitcoin. I've been doing this for a long time. To give Bitcoin to another person, especially someone who understands Bitcoin, it fucking feels amazing. This is the future of Amber App. This is how I'll wrap this up. I know we're going to get attacked as exchanges because I just told you spooks out here to go fuck yourself. And I know we're going to. So we're going to create all this stuff to mitigate the damage that you're possibly going to try to bring to my company. We have a peer-to-peer app that will be coming out end of 2024, early 2025. Our Amber Vault is launching, Amber Pay, Amber Nodes. Like, to me, this is not I don't know how, if there's some investors in here. I'm not looking for investors. I bought out a quarter of my cap table. I want to own this, and I want everyone on my team to own it as well. And we want to build the tools that people can be sovereign, and that's exactly what we're going to do over the next 10 years. So this is us. This is Amber App. Thank you for listening to how I see the world. And if you can relate to it, come up and let's have a chat. Again, a massive thanks to the Meme Factory for doing everything they did and getting us here. And I guess lastly, your journey is starting now. Be that rabbit with the laser eyes. Be your individual self. And here's a 21-second video. Thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Zimbabwe, no. Just have card with a